Tonight, piling on the pounds. The cost of the weight loss jab Mounjaro soars, leaving thousands of Scottish users worried about the future.
You found something that actually works and it's just been taken away from you, and people are going to feel hopeless.
Also making the headlines, the classroom assistants being asked to carry out medical procedures on children in our schools. Coming back down to earth, starman Bowie looks back on his stunning goal that rocketed Hibs through to the playoffs.
Gina works a $1 a day.
And what's your song? We hear about the therapeutic effects of karaoke at the Edinburgh Fringe. I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Tens of thousands of Scots take the weight loss drug Mounjaro, but there are fears tonight the cost of buying it could double or even triple. The manufacturer, Eli Lilly, says the increase will bring the price in the UK more into line with other countries. It comes after President Trump raised concerns pharmaceutical products were too expensive in the United States. Now, people using the drug here are calling for it to be made more widely available on the NHS. Our senior reporter Gordon Cree has the latest.
Over the last year, weight loss drugs have become huge. There can't be many of us who haven't heard of at least someone who's on them. The most popular is Mounjaro. Around 500,000 people in the UK are believed to be taking this. Now, so far, it's been a lot cheaper here than it has been in Europe and the United States. But now that could be about to change, and this could be getting a lot more expensive.
Now, Heather's latest supply of Mounjaro has just arrived at her home in Kincardine. In the last 16 months, she's used the drug to lose 9 stone. Life-changing, she says. She's now tapering down her dosage, but that's a process that will take time and money.
I can't see that I can maintain using this medication at these prices. So I think what needs to happen is, I think our governments need to step in. I think that the NHS need to step in. Someone needs to do some negotiating of this price to make sure that it's still affordable for the people in this country, because the benefits to this country and the benefits to the NHS are huge.
The manufacturer Eli Lilly is increasing its list price of the highest dose from £120 to more than £300. It comes months after the US president related an anecdote about a call from a, his words, seriously overweight businessman.
I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88, and in New York I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on?
There's a warning people on the drug shouldn't just stop cold turkey.
That is a real concern. So we would always suggest to somebody that they phase down the different levels of medication if they were considering to stop for any reason. So we would urge any patient who's been looked after by a healthcare practitioner to speak to that healthcare practitioner and get their advice on what would be the best thing for them to do.
Ailish lost half her body weight and documented it on TikTok. She feels others may now be priced out.
For the first time in your life, if you've found something that actually works, and it's not a fad diet, it's not Weight Watchers, it's not Slimming World, you've found something that actually works and it's just been taken away from you, and people are going to feel hopeless.
Eli Lilly says it's working with private providers who may be able to negotiate discounts, but tonight it looks like losing pounds may cost you a few more. Gordon Cree, STV News.
Classroom support assistants working with additional needs children are being asked to perform medical procedures on pupils on a daily basis while facing the ongoing threat of violence. Staff have been telling STV News that they've considered leaving the profession. Their trade union is demanding they're given more training and higher pay in line with their responsibilities. Lewis Mickey reports.
Linda, not her real name, has been a pupil support assistant working with ASN children for 5 years. The expectations in the job have changed in that time.
When I first started, it was more supporting kids learning, more about the education side of it. And as the years have went on, it became more medical, stomach care, peg feeding. We have been asked to do intermittent catheterisation.
She says the training to do this is minimal.
Shows what to do, it's on a stuffed animal, but that's not realistic. Staff are being scratched, kicked, punched. We've had staff who have been off with concussion.
What concerns do you have when you are being asked to perform these procedures, but you maybe don't feel like you've had that level of training you'd like to have?
We are frightened that if we do carry out these procedures, that if we're not appropriately trained, that something might go wrong and, face consequences.
Have you considered whether you want to continue doing this job at any point?
Yeah, quite a lot, especially on the approach to coming back.
The GMB union represents a number of PSAs across the country.
We hear about it absolutely all the time. There's not one council we've not heard it from. So it's not necessarily every teaching assistant, every pupil support assistant that has to do this every single day, but there's no one council that is removed from this. They need the proper training so that they feel comfortable and confident doing the procedures they're being asked to do, but also that they're getting paid properly for it.
The Scottish Government says it recognises and appreciates the dedication and hard work of pupil support assistants. It says staff and school management should be satisfied that training provides them with sufficient knowledge, understanding, confidence and competence. A spokesperson says the government is investing an additional £29 million this year to support the ASN workforce. What would you like to see happen now then to try and address these concerns?
It needs to be in-depth, appropriate training in line with what nurses get paid.
Lewis Mickey, STV News.
Across the country, people have been marking the 80th anniversary of Victory over Japan Day, the day the Second World War finally came to an end. In Scotland, some families still bear the emotional scars of a conflict which had an impact far beyond its battlefields. Caitlin Hutchison reports.
In East Kilbride, a daughter's quiet tribute.
My father was a prisoner of war. He was captured at the fall of Singapore. I'd never heard of Black and Martin, but it turned out to be an island just off Singapore. Somebody said, why didn't he try to escape? It was the ocean.
William returned home at the end of the war, but sadly died in 1959 when Avril was just 17.
It was obviously something that he carried with him the rest of his life.
Yes, because he had nightmares. He'd been ill-treated. They got beaten at the back of the neck with their rifles or sticks.
In Edinburgh this morning, a lone piper on the battlements, one of 6 performing in unison across the UK and East Asia. By 1945, 365,000 British troops had been deployed to Asia and the Pacific. And for many, the fight didn't end on Victory in Europe Day in May. Liberation came months later, and for thousands, not at all. Remembering the veterans who came before him, Norman, who served alongside the Gurkhas in Malaya. He was only a small boy on VJ Day, but remembers it as if it was yesterday.
A lot of happy and sad memories. The streets were full. That started dancing, and that went on for about 3 weeks, Well, it was very bittersweet, yeah. A lot of people had lost their men and their sons.
Others marked the day by crossing the Erskine Bridge, a 3-mile tribute to those who served in the war's final chapter.
I think it's really pertinent nowadays when we think of what's happening in other countries across the world just now. So it's important that we never forget. And so that's why the veterans and the staff here are all coming out to remember what people gave and the sacrifices they gave for their country.
Today's tributes honour those who fought and remember those who never came home. Caitlin Hutchison, STV News.
A water scarcity alert has been issued for several rivers in the east of Scotland amid low rainfall and warm temperatures. The Scottish Environmental Protection Agency say the River Dee and Firth of Forth are among 6 areas on alert, while the River Don and the Firth of Tay are among those experiencing moderate scarcity. It's the 3rd time this year they've given cause for concern. There's a call for urgent action to tackle the high levels of women-led businesses failing to progress beyond the start-up phase. Research from Women's Enterprise Scotland suggests a perfect storm of economic conditions and structural inequalities, which it says could mean missing out on a potential £17 billion economic opportunity. Vanessa Kennedy reports.
Erica owns this tea business in Edinburgh, distributing her products and creating bespoke workshops. But despite pouring everything into her thriving business, she says she's amongst the women still facing challenges to continue progressing.
Generally, we have a lot of caring responsibilities, both for the younger generation and the older generation as well. People often start businesses to try and make that fit into their life, but to scale it, we need support and we need community and really structure around that.
While a new survey from Women's Enterprise Scotland shows women-led business startups have increased to 54% of all startups here, the number of established businesses are declining, and women-led employer ventures have dropped to just 20% of all employer businesses.
At the minute, women-led businesses make an £8.7 billion contribution every single year. Now, if we doubled the numbers of women-led businesses from just 20% up to 40%, that contribution would increase to almost £17 billion. Now, in context, that would wipe out 2/3 of our public spending deficit in Scotland. That's a huge economic prize.
The survey also found a number of inequalities hindering the progress of women-led businesses. Antoinette is a fashion designer selling her sustainable clothing online. Over the last 10 years, she says she's experienced cultural as well as economic barriers.
I don't think many men in my position would have been asked, do they understand the difference between turnover and profit? We are bringing so much to the economy. We're harder working, we're more resilient, we do better with nothing. There's 98% that have no funding and are keeping going. But it's not surprising that, women are having to give up on their dream, because when those barriers get too high, there's only so many times you can have that chap on that locked door or try and get through that glass ceiling.
Women's Enterprise Scotland is calling for more women-centric business support, including structured mentorship and role model programmes for both Erica and Antoinette. Helping keep as many businesses thriving as possible couldn't be more important. Vanessa Kennedy, STV News Edinburgh.
Cineworld is to leave its home in the world's tallest cinema complex in Glasgow at the end of next month. A Starbucks branch inside the building is also affected. Following the closure, Cineworld say their Silverburn venue will be undergoing its most ambitious transformation yet. A Category A nuclear incident occurred at Faslane Naval Base earlier this year. Category A incidents are where there is judged to have been actual or high potential of radioactive release. The Ministry of Defence say it posed no risk to the public. A 12-year-old boy says he's terrified of his new walk to school after the local council cut bus services in the area. Nathan Ross faces a near 3-mile trek to Cumbernauld Academy. His mother says the route is a predator's dream and is asking for the council to reverse its decision. Raheem Cham reports.
Oh, look at my old shirt with all my signatures on it from my last day of primary school.
12-year-old Nathan Ross is excited to start high school, but terrified about the journey getting there.
This is my brand new Cumbernauld Academy shirt for high school. But I'm a little scared, just like my family, because I'm going to have to be walking a full trek to get to school.
Nathan lives just under 3 miles from his new catchment school, meaning he's no longer eligible for free bus travel after North Lanarkshire Council raised the threshold from 2 to 3 miles.
To expect any kind of child, especially a kind of 12-year-old, to walk that distance twice a day, 5 days a week, in all weathers, and through winter, obviously it's dark. At the time he would have to leave and set off, he would need to leave at about 7:30 in the morning. It's still dark at that kind of time.
The walk takes over an hour through busy roundabouts and overgrown forest paths.
So what do you think is going to be the worst part of this kind of path then?
The steepness, the overgrown bushes and the messed up pathways that I could trip in.
Emma has walked it herself, 69 minutes from door to door.
in the winter when there's lots of rain could be kind of overflown, makes the paths kind of wet and slippy and mossy. Again, that's a kind of danger. All these secluded areas as well are just a kind of attacker or a predator's dream, kind of hiding in the kind of bush. It's very unsafe and kind of dark for anyone to walk, let alone a kind of young child.
And this is a challenge faced by many other children in the area.
Since the walk's so long, I'll be tired to the time when I get back, and if it rains then I'll be soaking.
The suggested safe walking route involves 16 different road crossings and only one of which has a pedestrian crossing. It goes through a woodland area and an elevation of 106 metres. It's not a safe or suitable walking route for a child of that age to be going to school every morning.
Oh, my child has gone through absolute trauma since her school bus has been removed. We do have some acute challenges with regards to my daughter's anxiety.
The council says the policy aligns with national guidelines and follows safety route assessments. But some say the cuts are unnecessary and put children at risk.
The law has a statutory distance, but the council has discretion to operate out with that. So, North Lanarkshire for secondary school kids, it was 2 miles. The council have now decided to move that to 3 miles, which is the statutory distance. But they have the discretion to have that distance set at whatever they like. And indeed, that's how it's operated in North Lanarkshire for many, many years.
But as the debate over school transport continues, Nathan's family can only hope safety isn't sacrificed for savings. Raheem Cham, STV News, Cumbernauld.
Rahman is here with the sport. What about that goal?
Cracker from Kieran Bowie, wasn't it, John? Scored a few myself back in the day, in my dreams. Of course, that was Hibs against Partizan Belgrade at Easter Road last night. Swung one way, then the other. Ultimately, Hibs progressed through to the playoffs.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
Good evening. I'll never do that again. That was the reaction of Hibs hero Kieran Bowie after his wonder strike set the team on course for the Europa Conference League playoffs last night. The Edinburgh side will face Legia Warsaw over 2 legs, and David Gray says becoming the first Hibs team to make the league phase in Europe is the challenge laid down to his players. Here's Jamie Bothwick.
A goal for the ages on a night that will live long in the memory. Hibs' Conference League campaign was on the ropes when Kieran Bowie produced this moment of wonder.
I've tried it a few times. I tried it against Kelly from the halfway line. Tried it after that one, and obviously I got confidence at the moment, so it just sat up nicely, and I thought I would just hit it, and it couldn't have gone any more in the top corner. I'll never do that again. So yeah, it was 2-2 at the time, and then I scored that goal, and then they get a man sent off straight after, so it definitely turned the tie in our favour.
Carrying a 2-goal lead into the second leg against Partizan Belgrade, David Gray's side couldn't press home the advantage early, and the fearless Serbians capitalised, first through a long-range strike, and then a moment that goalkeeper Jordan Smith will want to forget.
No, I never considered taking him off. No, it's easy to say that now, clearly. But no, as I said, I know his character, I know him as a person. Spoke to him, he knew, held his hand up straight away, he knows that. As I said, I think half-time came at a really good time.
With the tie level, Bowie's moment of genius brought the momentum back to Hibs. And when Partizan were reduced to 10 men, Easter Road was rocking.
He was already on a yellow before he went into that challenge.
But with just seconds left on the clock, the stadium was silenced. 3-3 on aggregate and extra time required. Hibs finally made their man advantage count as Chris Cadden netted from close range, and now Legia Warsaw stand between them and a place in the league phase.
I've challenged him numerous times over the last, whatever it is, 15 months on trying to recreate history and change history in a positive way. I know I keep saying it, I probably sound like I'm repeating myself all the time, but one thing was, can we achieve group stage football, having to go around it the hard way? And we're still on course for that. We'll just take one game at a time and look forward to that one when it comes around.
Meanwhile, it was heartbreak for Dundee United in their third qualifying round tie against Rapid Vienna, going out on penalties after a 2-2 draw at Tannadice. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
Celtic begin the defence of the League Cup tonight. They host Falkirk in the last 16. Live now to Ronnie Chatters, who's at Celtic Park. Ronnie.
Yes, Rahman, the quest for the first piece of silverware begins tonight for Brendan Rodgers and his men. They welcome Falkirk here in the last 16 of the League Cup. To preview that match, delighted to say joined by former Celtic defender Charlie Mulgrew. Charlie, thanks for joining us. Celtic Falkirk, how do you see this one this evening?
I'm looking forward to seeing Falkirk. They came here last year in the Premier Sports Cup and they put on a great performance. The difference is they play for the back. A lot of teams will come here and they won't play for the back because Celtic are the superior team and they press well, they've got legs. So I'm interested to see how Falkirk go about it. They'll play for the back, they'll be a hard team to beat. We'll see how Celtic do. I mean, it's going to be a difficult game, but I love the way John McGlynn's went about it. I mean, he's been here 3 years now and he's played the same way, stuck to his principles. And I'm looking forward to seeing that tonight.
Just a word on Celtic's start to the season. What have you made of how Brendan Rodgers went about it?
Listen, 2 wins out of 2 in the league, so I think you can't ask for much more. St Mirren are a hard team to beat and Celtic managed to do that. Got up to Aberdeen, another tough place to go, and managed to get another result, so another win. Of course there's things they want to do better, there's no doubt about it. I think Brendan Rodgers has clearly said that, but they're moving well and they're picking up wins.
Champions League on Tuesday night. Are you surprised at the lack of transfers coming in and out of Parkhead at the moment?
I know there's a lot being made of the transfers and that's a lot of the chat, but I'm sure in this window Celtic will get the business done. They have to, they need forward players in the forward line. I think for back to middle they're pretty strong, but I think the forward line, wingers in particular, it allows them to put my head up top and maybe potentially a striker, but yeah, definitely I think they'll be looking to put players in that forward line in the next coming weeks.
OK, Charlie, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Well, as we mentioned, Falkirk coming into this one with confidence. Let's hear from John McGlynn.
That's what you're in the game for, to play on the big stage, in the big games and live on television. So up to everyone to go and do their best, put a good performance on and see where it takes us. We want to go there, we want to come out of Celtic Park with our heads held high and who knows, maybe into the quarterfinals, who knows.
You can of course watch tonight's match on the STV Player Plus with Premier Sports coverage beginning at 7:15. Will Celtic begin the defence of the League Cup in the best possible way, or can John McGlynn's Falkirk pull off the mother of all upsets and leave here with a quarter-final place? We don't have to wait long to find out. The teams have arrived and the kick-off here for Celtic versus Falkirk in the last 16 of the League Cup is 7:45.
Rory at Celtic Park, thanks very much for that. Russell Martin believes he will take Rangers in the right direction, but says the job is like turning a tanker. Well, STV has learned Chefte is close to leaving the Ibrox club in a £6 million transfer to Brazilian side Palmeiras. And Martin has revealed Ciro Desser's injury is not as bad as first feared, and the striker could be available for the Champions League playoff against Bruges next week.
Having really, really high standards, like with everything, that this club should stand for, then I just don't see how it doesn't go in the right direction. So one of the maintenance guys here this week said we're turning a tank around, Gaffer, and it will just take some time, but when we get it going, and I thought it was a perfect analogy. And he's a great guy. He was here when I was here before. I don't want to embarrass him, but honestly, when he said it, I was like, no, you're right. We just qualified for the Champions League.
2 Premiership managers have extended their contracts with their respective clubs. St Mirren boss Stephen Robinson says he's even more determined to be successful after signing a new deal until 2028, while Livingston owner Calvin Ford has described David Martindale as one of the great managers in Scottish football after Martindale committed his future until 2027.
What we have is a really good group of people, all wanting the same thing and all wanting the same thing for St Mirren. So that excited me. I still have the same enthusiasm for the job that I had when I first took it. That hasn't changed, and even more determined to try and be successful.
To golf, and Robert McIntyre has extended his lead on day 2 of the BMW Championship in Maryland. McIntyre, who carded an impressive 8 under par 62 to hold a 3-shot lead in his opening round, is on the course right now and is on 12 under par through 11 holes. Tommy Fleetwood heads the chasing pack on 8 under.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
And some football news just into us, John. Rhys McCabe has resigned as Airdrieonians manager. That's all sport for me tonight. Have a great weekend. John.
You too, Rahman. Thank you. How's the weather for that weekend? Here's Philip.
Outbreaks of ancient sites will gradually settle into an evening of pizza plates al fresco. TUI, sponsors STV Weather.
Well, thankfully today our weather has been dominated by this area of high pressure that's kept things largely settled, and it does stick around throughout the weekend and into the start of next week, keeping things largely dry for many of us. We'll see plenty of sunshine on offer. Come Monday, there is just the risk of some showers moving in associated with a frontal system, nothing too bad though, and then the high pressure will start to redevelop itself throughout Tuesday. Back to just now as we head into the overnight period. It is remaining mostly dry for many of us this evening and overnight. We'll start to see a bit of low cloud mist and murk forming in places, but there will also be some clear spells. So where we've got the clearer conditions, temperatures will be dropping. We could see lows of around 8 or 9 degrees Celsius in some rural spots. For most towns and cities where we've got that cloud, lows of 13 to 15 degrees Celsius. So looking ahead to tomorrow, there will be a bit of a cloudy start once again, similar to today, but by lunchtime a lot of that cloud will start to thin and break up, and then we'll see plenty of sunshine throughout the course of the afternoon. A brighter start to the day in the west. With the brightness, it does mean it will be feeling warmer. Temperatures will be up a degree or two compared to what we've seen today, highs of 23 or 24. Then looking ahead to Sunday, a lovely day across the vast majority of the country to end the weekend. Some patchy cloud around eastern parts, but with that sunshine, temperatures will be up a degree or two once again, highs of 25. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, festival goers in Edinburgh have been given the chance to take part in cathartic karaoke to raise awareness of how certain songs can boost our mental health. According to the University of Oxford, the songs mathematically proven to increase dopamine levels are Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi and I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, followed by tracks by Oasis, Shania Twain and The Proclaimers. Organised with the Samaritans, the booth gives everyone the chance to belt out some feel-good songs.
Watch that scene, dig in the dancing queen.
It was such good fun, wasn't it? Yeah, really good fun.
I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more. I wanna really wanna sing.
I think it's cool just to bring up the spirit.
Yes, let it go.
Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else.
No, I'm not going to sing. But that should set you up for the weekend. Whatever you're doing, have a good one. From all of us, good night.